Hi guys, I'm just another guy named James, and today I'm going to be talking about some more G.I. Joe. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about issues 23 through 27, which is this handful of issues. It's only 5 issues, but I think they're some of the best in the series. So let's hop straight in with issue 23, which opens with Snow Jobs. Oh, also, hang on, before I get that, I lied. Before I get started, I do want to remind you that I have talked about issues 1 through 22 in the past. So if you want to watch those videos, they will be linked down in the description. So please give those a shake if you haven't seen it. This video will make a lot more sense if you have seen specifically what's called on the channel G.I. Joe Part 2. So yeah, go check that out. Things in this video will make a lot more sense. Like, for example, why Baroness is in the hospital and why Snowjob is spying on her. And Baroness is one of the Cobra leaders, just in case you didn't go back and rewatch the video. So Snowjob's spying on Baroness, and we see that Duke and Roadblock are running point on the op. And at the same time that Snowjob is following Baroness, Major Blood is being followed by Clutch and CoverGirl, who are following him in a car. And Major Blood ends up calling Cobra Commander and saying, "Hey, I want a briefcase full of money or I'm going to tell Destro that you're trying to kill him." And so Cobra Commander, of course, does this because he doesn't want to die. So Cobra Commander gets going to the Alps with this mystery man who we know nothing about. You'll find out who he is later in the story. So Snowjob, CoverGirl, and Clutch all meet up, and then Snowjob ends up, and they all discover that Major Blood and Baroness are going to Lucca, which is a small town in northern Italy, and that everything's happening in Switzerland, and now they're moving off to Italy. So the Joes are at a costume party, so that somebody wandering around in a cult hood wouldn't seem quite so weird. And that's where Duke and Roadblock, who are still running point, are. So the Cobras get a bunch of gangsters to hop on their car with them, and they drive down the mountain, and the gangsters shoot out Clutch and CoverGirl's car, and it crashes. But Clutch and CoverGirl are fine, so they get up and get going. So Duke and Roadblock realize that they've been set up, so they start to fight back. So they shoot out the front of the car, so it stops, and with Roadblock's 50 cal, and then a bunch of the gangsters attack, and Duke and Roadblock get into a fist fight with them, which they win. And then Major Blood, Baroness, and 2 more of the gangsters confront Cobra Commander and his mysterious friend, who reveals himself to be a ninja and slices up the gangsters that Cobra Commander's traveling with, and then puts his sword to Major Blood's throat. To which Baroness responds by putting her pistol to Cobra Commander's head. So they're now stuck in stalemate until the Joes rush in and start fighting, and Baroness and Cobra Commander are able to slip out the back while Storm Shadow and Major Blood fight Duke and Roadblock. But Major Blood and Storm Shadow end up being able to win that fight, and Clutch and CoverGirl go after Cobra Commander and Baroness, and leaving leaving Major Blood and Storm Shadow to steal a parade float, which they do, and then we get this car chase with all the cars zooming around, and Baroness ends up shooting out one of Clutch's tires, and Storm Shadow Storm Shadow shoots out one of their tires, as CoverGirl and Baroness are having a gunfight. So Clutch is able to crash his car into the float to knock it out, to almost knock it out. And then Snowjob, Roadblock, and Duke go zooming down the mountain in the Vamp, and Clutch and CoverGirl pursue on a motorcycle. But the Vamp ends up getting flipped over by a cement truck, so Roadblock flips it back over, and Clutch and Roadblock ride it straight down the mountain just in time, and they catch up to the Cobra's Lincoln just in time to shoot it a bunch and stop it cold. Baroness ends up escaping with Blood and Storm Shadow on the parade float, but Cobra Commander is captured. And that leads to the next issue, which is the Commander escapes. And this is issue 24. So this issue starts with the Joes being parachuted into the Rockies, and getting 2 cargo crates dropped off, and one of which has the Joe's temporary fortress inside of it. And Major Blood and Destro and Baroness all confront each other, and they decide that they're going to take over Cobra. And then we see that Storm Shadow was able to track the cargo plane and find the commander. So the Joes invite Cobra Commander inside for some coffee, but then we cut back to the Cobras, where Major Blood reveals that he has tracked Storm Shadow and that he is going to send that Wild Weasel and Firefly are going to be sent after him to shut him up, pretty much. And Cobra Commander reveals that if there are any attempts made to take off his battle helmet, it'll probably blow up. And there's also a radio receiver built into his earpieces. But Storm Shadow is able to find Cobra Commander and then open a line of communication with him. And Storm Shadow tells the commander to go outside, and he does with an escort. But Storm Shadow comes in with a Cobra Claw and is able to run away with Cobra Commander. So Duke decides he's going to bust open that second crate, and you'll find out what's in that in a moment. And Storm Shadow ends up staying behind so that Cobra Commander can make it back to the the Cobra cargo plane and escape. And Duke ends up chasing him in what is easily one of the greatest G.I. Joe toys, the Skyhawk. In this issue, it's also freaking awesome. But anyway, so Duke's chasing Cobra Commander in the Skyhawk. He's trying to laser him down with the machine guns in it, but Cobra Commander calls Storm Shadow to be like, hey, take care of this guy. And he climbs up in a tree and gets a good sniper's perch, but then Gung Ho shoots him out of the sky. It shoots the tree down with his grenade launcher. And the Cobras send a couple of their Fang helicopters to cover the commander's escape. And Gung Ho and Roadblock go searching for Storm Shadow, and Gung Ho gets sliced up pretty good, but Roadblock drops Storm Shadow with a good old-fashioned tackle. But the Fangs catch up to Duke in the Skyhawk, and Duke whips around and blows them up with the missiles. But even that moment of time allows Cobra Commander the time he needed to make it to the plane, and without any more missiles, he can't shoot a plane that big out of the sky. So the commander escapes, and he makes it back to Cobra headquarters, and the Joes find a mailing slip that Storm Shadow had on him, where he was mailing something to Chokoloskee, Florida. And at the same time, we realize that the thing he mailed was the tracker that Major Blood had planted on him. So Wild Weasel and Firefly go to Chokoloskee, and they find the owner of the property who has them pointed up at gunpoint. who is an ally to Cobra Commander. So that's what we're gonna start to see next issue. But first, we have to see Duke and Roadblock take Storm Shadow to Alcatraz. Then we see the Cobra leadership team, Baroness, Cobra Commander, and Destro go to the swamp. Major Blood got thrown in jail at Cobra headquarters because he betrayed Cobra Commander in Switzerland. So, and they catch up with the owner of the swamp shack named Zartan, and he reveals that inside the shack, while it may not look like much, it's actually just a bunch of illusions. He can alter the way it looks and stuff, and that's all very cool. And then we cut to the G.I. Joes on the USS Jane, which is a Navy ship. And on that ship, we meet some of the new Joes. We get to meet Mutt and Junkyard. Mutt is the dog handler, and Junkyard is the dog. We meet Deep Six and Cutter. Cutter is the captain of the ship, and Deep Six is a Navy guy. And we also meet Tripwire, who I honestly don't remember if we had met before, but we get to catch up with him if we have. And they're all going to be going to Chokolowski to see why Storm Shadow mailed something there. But at the same time, Snake Eyes visits Gung Ho in the hospital, and Gung Ho's like, "That's weird. You got the same tattoo as the ninja that sliced me up." And when that's revealed, Hawk and Scarlet call up Duke and Roadblock, who are still at Alcatraz, and say, "Hey, this ninja you captured, he's connected to Snake Eyes. You might wanna like up security on him." And like, "Oh, okay." And soon the Joes send a strike team out to Florida, to the Florida swamp, and you've got 2 dragonflies going in and Deep Six piloting the shark. And you'll find out what the shark is in more detail in a second. So Zartan reveals that he can like change his shape and shapeshift and all of that. And Wild Weasel and Firefly are freed. And then we cut back to the Joes who land in the swamp. And the Joes in the swamp are Mutt, Junkyard, Tripwire, and Torpedo. They're the foot crew. And the water moccasin, the Cobra boat, comes in and tries to attack the dragonflies, but they don't actually but the dragonflies can't get a good angle. So we get the reveal of what the shark is, and it's this like cool amphibious submarine thing where it can function as an underwater submarine, but also as a plane. And the shark is able to destroy the water moccasin, and yeah. And then Junkyard, the dog, ends up running off, and the dog leads the Joes straight to Firefly and Wild Weasel, who they capture. And then the dog runs off again, but this time straight to the shack, where Zartan is going to kill it. And throughout this entire saga at the swamp, we've been seeing cuts that reveal that Storm Shadow's escaped. So Storm Shadow has escaped, and the Joes are trapped in the swamp, and the dog could lead the Cobras straight to the Joes. And then 26 opens with Destro stopping Zartan from killing the dog, and this dog is staring straight at the Joes in the swamp. So he's trying to hide. So the Joes are trying to be stealthy and trying to hide, but this dog is just staring right at them. And eventually, it even starts to lead the Cobras straight to where the Joes are standing. And it's revealed that Wild Weasel and Firefly escape. And then it's revealed that Junkyard actually led the Cobras into quicksand. But the Joes are still chasing after Wild Weasel and Firefly. So now the Cobra leadership crew is all in the quicksand, and Wild Weasel and Firefly are being pursued through the swamp. So the Cobras start trying to shoot Junkyard, and the Joes are chasing after Wild Weasel and Firefly, but Wild Weasel and Firefly set up some traps. The Cobras are able to get out of the swamps, and Junkyard eventually catches up with the Joes and springs Firefly and Wild Weasel's trap. He's not killed in the trap, but he springs it. And with the springing of the trap, Wild Weasel and Firefly run out, and the Joes surround them. But then a firefight breaks out, because the rest of the Cobras catch up to the Joes, and it's a firefight. And the firefight ends with the Joes running away through the swamp back to the USS Jane. So they escape. So they are actually able to escape. And for now, that's where the story ends. Now, throughout these last 2 issues that I read, there was a whole side story that I didn't mention, and that is the origin of Snake Eyes. And if you want to see me talk about that, well, you're just gonna have to tune in next time. So overall, these issues of G.I. Joe are really good. They're super strong issues. The artwork is maybe their weakest point, just because it's so inconsistent. One person drew 2 of the issues, but that's it. Every other issue has a different artist. So the 23, I think, has some of the better art, and it's done by Mike Vosberg. And he's good. Some of his action shots can look a little bit goofy, but it happens. 24 is also, I think, is better than has better art than 23. It's by Russ Heath. The art can be a little stiff, but overall it's not awful, I would say. And the action shots look really clean. The faces, I think, are also drawn very well. And then 25 is drawn by Frank Springer, and it's good. He draws G.I. Joe very clean. There are a couple of areas where the art could have been better, but overall I think he's probably the best artist out of the bunch. And then you go to issue 26. And 26 was drawn by Steve Leona. And it was actually drawn by Larry Hama and finished by Steve Leona. And the art is just inconsistent with issue 25. Like, the character of Mutt looks completely different, and so does Zartan, actually. All of the characters are just look very different from how they looked in the last issue, and it can be very distracting. But the art is not by any means bad. It's just, and given that this issue is really about Snake Eyes, the art on the Snake Eyes side of things is really good. But the art on the side about the Joes could have been more consistent with the last issue. And then 27 is, again, drawn by Frank Springer, so the art looks very similar to how it does in 25. And that's these 5 issues of G.I. Joe. And overall, these are really good issues. You're starting to see a lot of these new Joes really coming into existence, and that's because the G.I. Joe toy lines really started to pop off at this time, and so of course the toy tie-in comic needed to include the new characters. And let me just say, this had to be one of the most successful marketing campaigns of all time, because reading these issues of G.I. Joe made me want some of a lot of the G.I. Joe toys. And I like G.I. Joe toys anyway, but like reading this really made me want like a Mutt figure and like a water moccasin vehicle. I don't know if either of those things exist in 25th anniversary style, but if they do, if you know they do, leave a comment. But anyway, yeah, so that's really all I have to say about this. And like I said, the next time I'm going to be talking about the Snake Eyes origin side of things, and that is going to be a fun video. So, in the meantime, I'm just another guy named James, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.